Good morning, team. Welcome to this week's Thursday Thoughts. This week I am talking about burnout. I have suffered the symptoms of burnout a couple of times in my life, and usually it's been around trying to manage a heavy load between work and home. Often when I'm feeling those burned out symptoms, it's because I'm also managing some emotional stress, which typically makes me a lot tireder, than physical stress or a workload stress. The emotional stress really gets me, and it makes me it interrupts my sleep. It often interrupts my appetite. It prevents me from engaging in some of my usual activities because of those fatigue feelings. So burnout for me has happened on a couple of occasions, and it's when I've been managing some emotional stress as well as some workload stress as well as some busyness in general across my world. A lot of us are probably prone to burnout, especially if we are parents and workers as well, or if we are supporting someone else in our home on a daily basis as well as working, or perhaps sometimes it can just be about a work stress load or something like that that's causing us to have those burnout feelings. Typically they happen though because we've let our self-care slide. So you'll notice that there's a link between everything I've been talking about over the weeks and everything that's coming. It's all about wellness, and it all ends up being the same conversation. If you're experiencing feelings of burnout, the solution to that is actually looking after yourself. It comes back to working on those self-care routines that we've talked about before. It comes back down to managing nutrition and making sure you're eating well. It's making sure you're sleeping well, having some of those good night routines and some sleep hygiene habits that you maybe need to reenact into your routines. It's about moving well, because we know that movement benefits your body in so many ways, and it can contribute. Even though you're feeling tired from the burnout, moving actually generates more energy for you to be able to then do some of those other tasks in your self-care routines that you might need. And of course, we know there's massive benefits to movement in general on your mental health. So burnout is a real thing. You're not alone if you've been experiencing burnout. So many of us do. I've put my hand up to say on multiple occasions I've definitely been able to identify the signs and feelings of burnout. And I've had to take on some of those tough decisions, like saying no to something and dropping something from my workload or dropping something from my personal life in order to regain the balance that I need to regain to recover from that burnt out feeling. So don't be afraid to say no, or don't be afraid to take that step that you know you need to take, because once you've started to experience the symptoms of burnout, they won't go away on their own, especially if you continue to maintain the workload that you've been working on that caused the burnout in the first place. So definitely consider how can you reduce your load if you're starting to feel those feelings, and focus on some of those key elements for your wellness that include your food, your sleep, your movement, and your self-care routines. So if you need some more support to do those things, there are heaps and heaps of resources available to you. You can look online to look at some of those articles that share with you tips and tricks around managing workload and life balance. You could get in touch with a professional to discuss, how this is impacting you and what you could do next. Even just having a chat with your mates, your girlfriends, your family members, to identify that it's happening so that they can potentially help you with some of that load that's happening in your life. The key is you must do something. You can't just sit and ignore if you're experiencing burnout. So my Thursday thought this week is starting to consider, what are you going to do if you're feeling those symptoms? And if you're not feeling the burned out symptoms yet, but you can see that it could come to you in the future and it could impact you, start working on it now. Work on those routines. Work on those hygiene habits that are for sleep hygiene, that are for nutrients, or that are for movement. Do them now. You'll feel better. Thanks, team. Bye.